Have you ever wished you could see through people's masks and know what they're really thinking? What if I told you there's a precise 3-minute window where people unconsciously reveal their true intentions, no matter how skilled they are at deception? This isn't about body language or micro-expressions. It's about a psychological phenomenon that occurs in every human interaction, yet 99% of people completely miss it. Most people believe that reading others requires years of training in psychology or some kind of supernatural intuition. But the truth is, human beings are hardwired to reveal their authentic selves within the first 3 minutes of any interaction, if you know what to look for. I've studied the behavioral analysis techniques used by intelligence agencies, FBI interrogators, and elite poker players, and discovered they all exploit the same psychological window that I call the 3-minute truth window. This window exists because of a fundamental conflict in human psychology, the tension between our desire to present a favorable image and our brain's inability to maintain complex deception for extended periods. In this video, I'll reveal the exact markers that appear during this 3-minute window, the neuroscience behind why this phenomenon occurs, and the specific observation techniques that will transform how you read people forever. And unlike what most people think, this has nothing to do with traditional body language. Before we dive into the specific markers, you need to understand why the 3-minute window exists in the first place. When someone attempts to present a false version of themselves, whether through outright lies or simply managing their image, they're forcing their brain to perform what neuroscientists call cognitive load management. Their prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function, must simultaneously monitor their actual thoughts and feelings, construct the desired false narrative, maintain consistency between their words and actions, observe your reactions to calibrate their performance. This creates enormous mental strain. Research from the University of Virginia shows that maintaining deception requires 30% more cognitive resources than telling the truth. Here's the critical part. Most people can sustain this cognitive load for approximately 2 to 3 minutes before experiencing what psychologists call deception fatigue. During this fatigue phase, their mental resources become depleted, and their authentic self begins to leak through the constructed facade. This is when you see their true intentions. But this window is brief, usually lasting only 30 to 60 seconds before they either recover their composure or the interaction shifts to a different dynamic. The key is knowing exactly what to look for during this critical period. Marker number 1, linguistic regression, 3:30 to 4:30. The first marker is linguistic regression, when someone's speech patterns revert to their natural state under cognitive stress. During the first 2 to 3 minutes, people carefully monitor their language, using sophisticated vocabulary and controlled tone. But as deception fatigue sets in, they unconsciously revert to their baseline speech patterns. Listen for sudden simplification of vocabulary, changes in sentence structure or rhythm, emergence of regional accents or speech patterns they've been suppressing, shift from formal to casual language without apparent reason. A fascinating study from Stanford University found that when people are maintaining false personas, their linguistic complexity drops by an average of 40% once cognitive fatigue sets in. To implement this marker, pay attention to how someone speaks in the first minute versus the third minute. The contrast often reveals their authentic communication style and, by extension, their genuine personality. Marker number 2, micro-contradictions, 4:30 to 5:30. The second marker is micro-contradictions, tiny inconsistencies that emerge when their cognitive control weakens. These aren't obvious lies or major contradictions. They're subtle inconsistencies between what they say and what they've implied, or between their stated values and their casual comments. For example, someone presenting themselves as highly ethical might make a casual comment that reveals a more flexible moral framework, or someone claiming to be detail-oriented might overlook obvious inconsistencies in their own story. These micro-contradictions occur because maintaining perfect consistency requires constant mental effort. As that effort becomes depleted, their authentic beliefs and values begin to surface. The key is listening for these subtle inconsistencies without immediately calling them out. Instead, note them as data points about the person's true character. Marker number 3, emotional leakage, 5:30 to 6:30. The third marker is emotional leakage, when their genuine emotions briefly surface despite their attempts to control them. During the first few minutes, people carefully manage their emotional expression to match their desired image. But as cognitive fatigue sets in, their authentic emotional state begins to leak through. Watch for brief flashes of irritation when they're trying to appear patient, moments of insecurity when they're projecting confidence, glimpses of excitement about topics they're pretending not to care about, quick expressions of contempt or superiority they're trying to hide. These emotional leaks often last only 1 to 2 seconds, but they provide invaluable insight into what the person is actually feeling beneath their constructed persona. Marker number 4, attention drift, 6:30 to 7. The fourth marker is attention drift, when their focus shifts from managing their image to their genuine interests or concerns. In the early stages of interaction, people maintain laser focus on impression management. But as mental fatigue sets in, their attention naturally drifts toward what they actually care about. Notice when someone becomes genuinely animated about unexpected topics, shows real concern about issues they initially dismissed, displays authentic curiosity about subjects unrelated to their stated interests, reveals knowledge or expertise they weren't initially showcasing. This attention drift reveals their authentic priorities and genuine areas of expertise or interest. Marker number 5, behavioral reversion, 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. The fifth marker is behavioral reversion, when their natural behavioral patterns emerge despite their attempts to modify them. Everyone has baseline behavioral patterns, how they naturally sit, gesture, make eye contact, or occupy space. When managing their image, people often modify these patterns to match their desired persona. But maintaining unnatural behavior requires constant conscious effort. As this effort becomes depleted, they revert to their natural behavioral baseline. Watch for sudden changes in posture or how they occupy space, eye contact patterns, gesture frequency or style, voice tone or volume. These reversions often reveal their authentic confidence level, social comfort, and genuine personality traits. Now that you understand the 5 markers, here's how to systematically observe them without being obvious about it. First, use the casual engagement technique. Engage people in seemingly casual conversation while mentally noting the timestamp. This prevents them from realizing they're being evaluated, which would activate their defensive mechanisms. Second, employ topic shifting to accelerate cognitive fatigue. Gently shift between different subjects every 45 to 60 seconds. This forces them to constantly readjust their persona, accelerating the depletion of their cognitive resources. Third, practice peripheral observation. Don't stare directly at the person while looking for these markers. Instead, maintain normal eye contact while using your peripheral awareness to notice changes in their behavior and speech patterns. Fourth, use confirmation questioning. Once you've identified potential markers, ask gentle follow-up questions that allow them to either confirm or contradict the insights you've gained. This helps verify your observations without revealing your analysis. Remember, the goal isn't to catch people in deception, but to understand their authentic selves beneath whatever persona they're presenting. The 3-minute truth window exists because human psychology has fundamental limitations. No one can maintain a false persona indefinitely without their authentic self eventually surfacing. By understanding these 5 markers, linguistic regression, micro-contradictions, emotional leakage, attention drift, and behavioral reversion, you gain the ability to see past people's carefully constructed facades to their genuine intentions and character. This isn't about manipulation or gaining unfair advantage. It's about developing the social intelligence to navigate relationships and interactions with greater clarity and authenticity. Start applying these observation techniques in your daily interactions, and you'll be amazed at how much more clearly you can read the people around you. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more insights into human psychology that most people will never understand. And let me know in the comments which marker you found most revealing in your own observations. Remember, everyone wears masks, but within 3 minutes their true face always shows.